as you probably know, and should be renewed sites of cultural renaissance on a local level, because these huge historical themes in faraway Chola, for children who live in Bihar is very far, and vice versa. I feel this is could be a very useful way to involve young people in history.
Very true. And I think that is one major drawback in the way we look at history, where it's a very Delhi-centric history. We all know by rote the entire genealogy of the Mughals, the Tughlaqs, the Lodhis, the Khiljis, all of those. But vast swathes of India don't feature in what is the history of Bharat. South India, where I come from, the Vijayanagara Empire, the Cholas, Rashtrakutas, Satavahanas, they're just disposed of in a map or so in the NCRT books. And the northeast of India, we don't even know anything about the history of that place. The Ahoms, who ruled for 600 long years. If we ask them, can we name one Ahom Raja? Any one of you? Any Ahom? Had you heard of the Ahoms? The children? Children. Had you heard about the Ahom dynasty? So, 600 years, such, stellar rulers, Lachit Barphukan, the famous general of the Ahoms who defeated Aurangzeb's army in the Battle of Sarai Ghat, none of these things make an impact. So I fully endorse, before even coming to local history, I think what is regional history, that also needs to, every part of India, if you're calling it the history of Bharat, every part of India should have a stake in it and should find a mention in it, rather than just, don't delete Delhi, but Indian history does not limit itself only to the regions in and around Delhi. That's a very valid suggestion.
So I will just add to that. Vikram has a lovely book. It's called Bravehearts of Bharat. जिसमें उन्होंने कितने 15 लिटिल नोन ऐसे हीरोज के बारे में, हीरोइंस के बारे में लिखा है. आप अवश्य पढ़िए. सिंपल बुक है और 15 लोगों के बारे में आप जान पाओगे जिसके बारे में आप कुछ नहीं जानते, बट उन्होंने इतने अच्छे अच्छे कार्य किए हैं भारत के लिए. So another question, sir.
Namaskar, ma'am.
Any young person.
Namaskar, ma'am. Namaskar, sir.
Yes.
My name is Jasmine. I have a question. Do you think someone has to rewrite the discovery of India?
Yeah, we could call it the rediscovery of India because it's already supposedly discovered by someone. So it's a constant process. Please pick it. It's a constant process. As I said, if everything about the past is already known and set in stone, we historians will go out of jobs. So it's a constant process of discovery, rediscovery, rediscovery. To call it revisionist and so on, it's the nature of the discipline that new discoveries happen, some new findings happen. Now in Dholavira, in Rakhigadi, in Sinoli, you had so many excavations, and that changes the way we look at the whole Aryan problem or the Mahabharata itself and all of this. So I think that is a constant work in progress.
There's one no there, right?
Ma'am, as you talked about Aryan invasion theory, as you talked about Aryan invasion theory, so once I approached a book called Volga to Ganga by Rahul Sandhi. So I'm from literature background, so I thought it is a travel narrative. So when I read that book, it was totally a fictional justification of Aryan invasion theory. And after that, I was totally shocked. How can I explain this to you? But still, I want your views on such books and after that.
See, I think both of us spoke about it, right? A lot of such books have been positioned as history. Unfortunately, now why is that? क्योंकि as readers ना हम वो फर्क कई बार नहीं कर पाते. कई बार तो authors बोलते हैं कि वो fiction लिख रहे हैं, फिर भी हम उसमें फर्क नहीं कर पाते. इसलिए हमेशा उसका इंट्रोडक्शन वगैरह पढ़ो और उसके विपरीत जिन्होंने लिखा है वो भी पढ़ो. एक पुस्तक से आप नहीं कर पाओगे. So don't stop at reading that book. Read the other side of it and then make your view. कि क्या है क्या नहीं, तो सब पढ़िए. So with that, thank you so much.
Just like to end, I think we are talking of Bharatiya perspective. A question that comes to all our minds is, were our ancestors not, and this is a criticism that not just comes now, but from the times of Al-Biruni, who said the Indians don't have a sense of history or writing things down. What is the purpose of history? We started the session with that, like what is the purpose? So philosophically speaking, what did our ancestors think about what is the need for history? Kalhan, the famous chronicler who wrote the Raja Tarangini, the rivers of kings as a tarang, one wave after the other, of all the kings of Kashmir, right from the ancient times till the medieval times. He gives this in a shlok, which I think is very important and the best way to end this. He says, इतिहास का उद्देश्य क्या होना चाहिए? धर्मार्थ काम मोक्षाणाम उपदेश समन्वितम कथायुक्तम पुरावृत्तम इतिहासम च चक्ष्मते. धर्म जो पुरावृत्ति है, जो old narrative stories of the past told to you as a story, kathayuktam, in tales, and for what purpose? To attain the purusharthas, the four purusharthas of dharma, artha, kama and moksha. But along with that, there's a very important part. Upadesha samanvitam. There has to be some didactic element, some good and bad, dharma, what is right and wrong. So if you see all the things that are called itihasas and puranas, the 18 Puran ho ya Mahabharat Ramayana, it follows this definition. It is told to you in a story form. It has right and wrong, good and bad, good and evil, always a fight. There is a moral in every story, but in the middle of all that foliage of story, fairy tales and goblins and everything, you have a kernel of truth also embedded, historical truth. So that is how our Indian दर्शन जो था इतिहास को देखने का वो यही था कि there has to be a utility for society. It is not just a dry cataloging of facts कि इसके बाद ये आया, उसके बाद वो आया, उसको रट्टा मार के what are we to achieve out of it? So a concerted attempt to see what is the use of this discipline for the nation, for the future. I think that is the Bharatiya lens to looking at भारतीय इतिहास. और इतिहास जो शब्द भी है संस्कृत का, उसका अगर आप अनुवाद करें तो इसका एक्चुअल ट्रांसलेशन इज ये ऐसे हुआ था. तो इट thus happened. You're just stating things as they happened, as you see it with your limited lens of the past. So thank you all so much for being such a patient.